Hi, my name is Anthony Gaddy, and I'm a product manager at Gravitee. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you about some of the new default shared policy groups that we include out of the box with APEM version 4.5. These are building blocks to creating LLM proxies so that you can connect to an upstream LLM system like Hugging Face, which is what we use in this example. And you can add these things together to create a lot of very complex applications with very minimal overhead. In this example, we're going to look at what we call, or what is called, prompt templating, where we're going to take the prompt that gets sent to the upstream LLM and template it so that the information is restricted in terms of what the user is actually sending in the request. So if we look at this prompt templating example shared policy group, you're going to see here that this has a few attributes that it creates. So it's going to generate a request IP from the IP parameter that's sent in the body of the request. Then we're going to make an HTTP call out to look up the city and country that this IP address comes from. So you pass in an IP address, you get back a city and a country. And then from there, you build your prompt in this assign attributes policy. So this here is the value that says, given the location, city, state, country, give a short description like you're a tourist guide. So we'll see what that looks like. Now, if we go back to the list of shared policy groups, we also have a redirect to Hugging Face. And what this does is it takes some model parameters for the LLM. And the reason this is useful is because if you're somebody who's trying to administer an LLM proxy and you need to set variables for the actual model, you don't want to expose that to all your end users. So in this case, what we're going to do is actually set some values for the Hugging Face connection. In this case, we're going to tell it what model we want to use, and we're going to give it a prompt that we've already pre-prepared. And then we're going to send that request to Hugging Face in a dynamic routing policy. And this is going to use the endpoint on the API to route the request to the Hugging Face endpoint here. And these policies, again, come out of the box with Gravitee 4.5. I've also included a convenience here, which is an assign attributes policy. We've got an attribute for the prompt, which isn't used in this example, but is used in another example. And then we've got the redirect model, which is the LLM that we're going to use here. You can see it's llama 3 8b instruct. And then we also got the redirect source, which is where the redirect is coming from, and that's going to be useful in the building block that we're setting here in the assign attributes policy. So now I can go over to my API. I've got this API, the LLM proxy. And in there, I can add a few policies. So I've already set up a flow here called tourist prompt. And all I have to do this, given that I've set up these shared policy groups already, is I can add the assign attributes policy, nothing to configure there. Then I can add the prompts templating shared policy group. Here it's telling me I need to have that IP field set. That's what I'm going to set from the body of the request. And then I'll add the redirect to Hugging Face policy, which has a prerequisite message here in the shared policy group saying that these context attributes are required in order to call this, to use this shared policy group. So I'll add that, and I'll save, and I'll deploy my API. Now to use this, I just need a token to talk to Hugging Face. The endpoint here you can see is API interface Hugging Face. So if you're a Hugging Face user, you can use that API directly. And I've already got a token for that. And I also need some input data. So in this case, I'm going to look up some IP addresses. So there's plenty of ways you can do this. But in this example, I've looked at IP address by country in this website. And so I've just pulled this one here. I just happened to pick Romania. So now I'm going to go back over to my terminal. And I'm going to run the following curl command. So I've already set up environment variables for my Hugging Face token and So that's going to be used here. But now you can see I've got this IP address 103.104.1040. I'm going to put that here, and I'm going to call the Gravitee gateway on my LLM proxy at the tourist endpoint and pass it this data body that's in JSON, and it's that IP address as a string. And when I enter that, it's going to go to Hugging Face and get this information. Now this one's pretty quick because it was cached, but you can see I've got a generated response from Hugging Face that has the content, and that content is, "Welcome to Bucharest, the vibrant capital of Romania." And you can see the entire prompt here from Hugging Face response, I should say. Now let's look up a different one. I'm just going to pick one from here. Let's go with, sorry for anyone whose country I'm passing by here. Why don't we go with Bulgaria? So let's grab an IP address that is likely from Bulgaria. So let's see if this one will work. And now come back over, change the IP value here in my request. Remove those spaces. Send the prompt to Hugging Face, and then you've got "Welcome to Bulgaria" with an explanation of and a summary of the town. And again, what this is doing in our API here is we've put together some basic building blocks to create this AI agent, really, that's involving prompt templating and Hugging Face. And this is a great example of how you can use Gravitee to combine the tools that you need to build an LLM proxy out of the box very quickly. Everything I did here, with the exception of this assign attribute shared policy group, you can do on your own in about 5 minutes. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what our users are going to do with this feature. And please don't hesitate to contact us and tell us what you've done. All right, thanks everyone.